adjust schedules. We are continuing to work with sometimes cancellations because of things that are going on. And once again, please allow me to offer a monologue, as it were, here Saturday, October 16th, 2021, that will help to understand, or I pray that it will help to understand what our orientation is now, what our purpose is now, and a particular mission that we are undertaking with the Stutes for Boots program that is indeed sponsoring Wave Your Grades, KUAW.org. Brother Walker, one of the things that I want to start with and then shall repeat during the program is a phone number that can be called in case someone has a comment, and or Brother Walker, is it better that they text? I have the 599 number that I would like to share. Okay, no problem. The 816 5. I see. Okay. All right. KUAW dash radio. Just in case there are comments, just in case there are questions, any kind of inquiries. But my prayer is indeed that my explanation will be sufficient as it relates to your being able to participate in the Stutes for Boots mission, as it were, in this time of overcoming the pandemic. But there's a lot more going on than the pandemic. We pray that you will be vaccinated, that you will wear masks, keep your distance, all of those things that were talked about even a year and more ago continue. And here's the interesting thing about the human mentality and how we look at things. When you get your vaccinations, when you wear your mask properly indoors, keep the distance, when you sanitize properly, the intended, in fact, the desirable result is that cases will go down. But here is where the human psyche comes into play. When the condition turns out to be less prominent, then we become less disciplined because we say that there's no longer a problem. Well, the reason that there is no longer, and I wish that were the case, it certainly continues to be a problem, but as it is reduced, then you have people who suggest, well, we're doing all right, I can go back to what I was doing. No, please continue to observe, continue to be vaccinated, continue to wear masks, continue to sanitize and all of those things. But in as much as we are in the throes of this pandemic era, I get an opportunity to attempt to take this time on this program to explain where we are and where we are going. This program, Wave Your Grades, is sponsored by the Stutes for Boots 501c3 nonprofit organization. And our action that this organization projects has to do with some things that are going on today that we must be very careful to pay attention to. I am coming to you from the greater Kansas City area. In the greater Kansas City area, in more than one educational institution, as a matter of fact, in more than one senior high schools, there have been incidents where racism has reared its ugly head among teenagers, among attendees at local schools. In one instance, there was an actual signed petition to bring back slavery. I am not going to pretend that these young people actually were suggesting bring it back. I'm suggesting that their intent was to insult the minority population and to make a statement that is obviously degrading, and then have the audacity to collect signatures. There was another situation that projected and suggested lynching. This is 2021. These are teenagers in our schools, and there have yet been other incidents where the climate is such that young people feel comfortable even bringing up such things as the few that we shall mention. But unfortunately, it is going on at a high rate. Let me go back to what this program is about and what we intend to address as it relates to how this program fits in. STUTS is a word, an acronym that stands for Students Theater of Operations, the school. Students Theater of Operations, the school. The reason that we use that acronym is because, in as much as we are paying tribute to those who serve and have served, is because they operate in theaters of operations. That is to say, when our military personnel are deployed towards areas of conflict where they are enacted, it is called a theater of operations. My suggestion is that American students pay tribute to those who are active military and have been by considering our schools theater of operations, except that rather than having to address things violent, things warlike, that our students must address things academic. So we say, Stoots for Boots, American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops. Now, Wave Your Grades, this program every Saturday, 1 until 2 p.m., KUAW.org in Kansas City, Missouri, suggests that we appreciate not just students, but all who would, quote, wave the flag, unquote, provided that in that waving, they are suggesting that America should be the United States of America, and therefore, rather than simply wave the flag, make it symbolic of waving grades, make it symbolic of waving community service, make it symbolic of waving leadership, make it symbolic of standing for brotherhood and sisterhood, make it symbolic of more than waving the flag. Wave your grades. If you want a veteran in a veterans hospital to feel good, visit the hospital with a good report card. Now, having said that, in as much as we want troops to feel good about what students are doing, particularly when students do it in honor of the troops, and we look at such things as have been happening at schools in the local area, and we would probably witness something similar outside of the greater Kansas City area, and that is unfortunate that we are in the throes of an era where there is contentiousness and, unfortunately, seemingly more divided than I have seen it, and my next birthday will be my 80th. Since the civil rights movement, I have not seen such division. But here's what our suggestion is. We are suggesting that our American students paying tribute to those who are in and or have been in the service should not just strive towards getting away from the negative, but we want to place significant emphasis on the positive. So as I am introducing what the Students for Boots current mission is, I am suggesting that we thank those who are doing what they are supposed to do. That even as we ask American students to say thank you to troops by excelling academically, let us as adults, particularly those adults in leadership position, thank the young people who are doing what they are supposed to do, the way they are supposed to do it, when they are supposed to do it. Certainly, we decry the fact that there are those who are so negative and would even project hateful messages. But let us spend some time, sometimes, with the young people who are indeed doing what they are supposed to do. Thank you for paying tribute and bringing young people, your peers, together. Now, Brother Lewis George Walker, let me tell you somebody I had the pleasure of enjoying a Zoom call with yesterday. Today is Saturday. I think it was Thursday. Keith Plessy, Cheryl Brown Henderson, and Leona Tate. Now, let me tell you what was remarkable about being in on that Zoom conversation. I'm talking about in the year 2021, I'm talking about a couple of days ago. I was allowed, being a member of the Brown Foundation board, to sit in on a Zoom call with Leona Tate, Keith Plessy, and Cheryl Brown Henderson. Leona Tate, in 1960, was one of the students at McDonough School who had to face not just discrimination, but actual violence going to school in New Orleans, Louisiana. Leona Tate, a part of the McDonough 19. Leona Tate is history. And here I had the opportunity to see her in person having a conversation with no less than Keith Plessy. Those of us who have studied civil rights, and particularly as it relates to equity and equality in education, will remember Plessy versus Ferguson. And that was the case that declared separate but equal, and turned out that it had to be noted and adjudicated. Brown versus the Board of Education, 1954, separate is not equal. Now, here was Keith Plessy, a descendant from the Plessy versus Ferguson separate but equal case, in a conversation with Cheryl Brown Henderson of Brown v. Topeka Board of Education, in a conversation with Leona Tate from the McDonough 1960 New Orleans, and my brother Lewis George Walker. I was in on a conversation that they were having with each other. Now, it is very difficult to put that in perspective. Go ahead if you were getting ready to say something, please. That was absolutely amazing. And I have to admit to you that going into the conversation, I knew that we were going to have a Zoom meeting, but I did not realize who was going to be in that conversation. So allow me to put it into context. I would like for American students to understand that not only do you have an opportunity, but you have an obligation to take advantage of learning history in the making. It is certainly imperative, if it has not already been done, and I would pray that certainly your schools have already talked about Plessy versus Ferguson, the McDonough 19, Brown v. Topeka Board of Education. I would certainly pray that that has already been done. But Brother Walker, you know that we must not make assumptions and that we must not take things for granted. While this should have been done ongoing at least since 1954, just in case it has not, Stutes for Boots is going to ask permission from the descendants of Plessy versus Ferguson and Brown versus Topeka Board of Education and the actual living presence of Leona Tate from 1960s McDonough 19, that they allow us to help good students to understand how important they are in the equation to go from divisiveness in what is supposed to be the United States of America and understand their part in it. Now, this is what I mean. And Brother Walker, please allow me to take us back to last week's program where I talked about the fifth front first. Held up my book. The title of the book, The Fifth Front Campaign. The reason for revisiting the Fifth Front Campaign is because Stutes for Boots has determined that emphasizing the Fifth Front is more important than it has ever been in the history of the United States of America, and I mean that sincerely. For those who were not in on last week's call, who were not viewing and or listening last week, I made it clear, I pray, that the Fifth Front is a reality, even if not recognized by the powers that be, and came from this source. Bob Woodward wrote a book during the War on Terror that he titled Bush at War. Now, this is Bush 45, George W. Bush, son of George H.W. Bush, 43. And in the book about Bush at War, the War on Terror at the time, Bob Woodward quoted President Bush as having said, "We are fighting this war," meaning the War on Terror, "on several fronts." Now, the fronts he mentioned were the military side, the intelligence side, the financial side, and the diplomatic side. As a matter of fact, as I have studied further, even having read that book and page 73 where the quote appears, subsequent to that, paying attention to military and science tactics, it appears that it is standard operating procedure to address these conflicts from those four fronts or those four sides: the military, the intelligence, the financial, and the diplomatic. But I wrote this book, The Fifth Front. The fifth side is the education side, so that these must be addressed on the military side, the intelligence side, the financial side, the diplomatic side, and it ought to be just as standard to say, and the education side. Fact of the matter is, without the education side, the other four are moot, because you don't want somebody to have authority without expertise. So if you say the military side, those who are professors of military and science tactics must teach how to engage, not just war, but indeed diplomacy and intelligence, and to have the finances, the wherewithal to do what needs to be done. All of that is very important, but if you have not been educated to do it correctly, unfortunately, we would fail. Now, therefore, the other part of this fifth front, the education side, the all important education side, what we are discussing now is the fact that when we look at all that challenges us today, we must understand that these problems, these issues, are not going to be solved next weekend. These issues are not going to be totally addressed by next year this time. When we talk about the things with which we are grappling in October 2021, we are saying that those solutions reside within a sixth grade classroom somewhere in the United States of America. Some young person who is now sitting in class or virtually learning on the third grade level will be looked to be the adult leaders in the future who have figured this stuff out because they have taken education seriously. Therefore, our suggestion is we need to put the fifth front first. So I would refer to it as the fifth front first campaign. That is education first. That is academics first. That is to say to young people that while what you might have thought you were doing as a prank, you might have thought it was cute, you might have thought that it would not offend anybody seriously, I'm just saying, no, what you are just saying detracts from, takes away from the time and the effort we must put forth being academicians so that even something as daunting, as challenging as climate change has to be addressed by young people who are going to be a part of what we are going through in the near and far future. And if you don't take education seriously, then the ramifications of climate change will not only be with us, but will be hard to solve or to properly address. But that's not all that we have as it relates to climate change, because we do, in fact, have great challenges internationally. We have great diplomatic challenges. Certainly that should be one of the fronts. But you don't want someone representing your nation if they are unintelligent. So therefore, international relations and climate change are very important, but it just happens that we are in the throes of a pandemic. We thought that like other illnesses, other epidemics that did not turn to pandemics would be solved fairly quickly and fairly easily. We are finding out now that it is not happening as rapidly as we wish that it had. And as a matter of fact, there will be other strains, there will be other issues visiting us in the health field. Now let's go back to sixth grade, eighth grade, maybe a sophomore in high school who has determined that they are going to study chemistry, that they are going to study medicine, that they are going to be a part of the solution. Once again, we need our academics. We need our students. We need them to be serious. We do not have time to be preying on one another. We must be praying for each other. And in as much as our Stutes for Boots suggests that we want to motivate American students to strive for excellence in honor of our troops, we want to introduce them not only to those who serve and have served. We have a good relationship. As a matter of fact, I just came back from a BFW auxiliary meeting at BFW Post 8100 here in Grandview, Missouri. And we have a close association with those who are involved with the military. That's why we say that. But we want to introduce you, young people, to Leona Tate, to Cheryl Brown Henderson. We want to introduce you to Keith Plessy. But Brother Louis George Walker, one of the places that confronted us with this issue of race in schools came from a school in our community where among the people they need to meet is a committee that is responsible for the revitalization of Benjamin Banneker in Parkville. And our young people need to know that they have in their midst some Cheryl Brown Henderson, some Keith Plessy's, and some Leona Tates right in our community. And when they get an opportunity to interact with them, our good students should be able to show the kind of leadership that says that we do not accept, we do not endorse, we will not allow our classmates to project racism as being the image that our school represents. We want to encourage those good young people. We want to show America, the young people who are coming together, who are making the suggestion that we are greater than that in all races, colors, creeds, and genders. As a matter of fact, I mentioned Keith Plessy. I didn't mention Phoebe Ferguson, but Keith Plessy, a descendant of the Plessy in Plessy versus Ferguson, has formed an alliance with Phoebe Ferguson, who is a descendant of the first Ferguson in the Plessy versus Ferguson case. Now, young people, those in high school, those to whom we speak when we say, asking American students to strive for excellence in honor of our troops, you need to be among those who did not wait for a century, who did not wait to come together to form alliances that represent races, colors, and creeds that make up what we have the audacity to call the United States of America. This is who we are. This is what we are about. This is what Stoots for Boots is doing. This is what Stoots for Boots will ask that you join us in, and we will be visiting schools with veterans to say thank you to those who are indeed acquitting themselves in such a manner as to create an image of the United States of America that is the pride of the world. We're losing a lot of that. We have lost a lot of that. We have to admit that right now we are divided. Well, adults, maybe our young people are going to have to lead us. Brother Walker, how many news conferences do you see? How many headlines are accompanied by special guests? How many panelists are talking about what is wrong with the United States of America with hair that looks like mine? Those of us who are gray-haired, old, and thought that we were relevant for a while need to yield to some youth leadership. We've got to allow and respect younger people than we to come to the fore and make the statement, we are not going to allow America to fall as it is dropping now to the point where it's irretrievable. And we also must respect our young people enough not to put them in the throes of a political battle, making them pawns in our struggle when we're mad with each other. No, we need to be able to say, whatever side of the political fence we are on, that our children are important and our troops deserve to be respected. This is what we are attempting to do. This is the message we are attempting to send. And this is what we are asking of young people on Wave Your Grades, KUAW.org. Brother Walker, anything on your heart or mind, I will attempt to recite our theme song and get out of your way. But in the meantime, any announcements, anything on your heart, please. Uh-oh, I got you on mute. I don't know if everybody else does. Hello, hello. All right. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let me suggest that if you have a need to contact Stoots for Boots or Carl Boyd, the phone number and text number 816 469 9925. The phone number for Carl Boyd or Stoots for Boots and the text number 816 469 9925. Our email address, stootsforboots at gmail.com. Stoots, STOOTS, for FOR, boots, BOOTS, at gmail.com. So please use the word for, not the number for, but Stoots for Boots at gmail.com. And once again, dedicating it to our young people, some or all of our theme songs, our word for the day, and then Brother Walker allowing for whatever logically follows, in as much as we'll finish a little early today, and looking forward to now having a series of programs on the Fifth Front First campaign. Right now, please indulge me because I want to dedicate this to our young people and even those who are not so young, asking that you really pay attention to the message I'm attempting to get across, praying that it does get across as we offer the Stoots for Boots theme song. and you can let me know if I need to be adjusted. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride and class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic when I tell you it's problematic when you do less than your best, especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing. I'm saying we know that you are great, and you know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform before, during, and after Desert Storm always perform above the norm everywhere and anywhere on the planet. Your peers should follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot follow if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. No excuses. All we got to do is just make up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors, protect you too. Do what you must to rise. So please do your part and please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrificed for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please. That is our theme song, Wave Your Grades. And we ask that you wave your grades for those who have fought, who continue to fight for you. It is the theme song for today's program, Wave Your Grades, KUAW.org. My name is Carl Boyd. I am your host. And Brother Lewis George Walker, if you will allow me to sign off just a little early this afternoon, looking forward to seeing you next week. I have a message for every day of the year, 366 messages. And I will be visiting those schools and asking that they tune into the message every day. And if they want to play them for morning announcements, fine. If they want to repeat them, and it will be in the form of a calendar very soon. To students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, October 16th. In the heat of a battle, a hero stays cool. A student trying hard is a hero in school. To students across the USA, your Students for Boots message for this day, October 16th. In the heat of a battle, a hero stays cool. A student trying hard is a hero in school. My name is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home. I'm not hearing Brother Walker, but I, I suspect that, okay, I saw the mute button, and thank you very much.